September 27th, 2024 is when my childhood ended. Last night, the Timberwolves traded away Karl-Anthony Towns to the New York Knicks, and in return got Julius Randle and Donte DiVincenzo. From a straight basketball perspective, this trade does make sense. For the Timberwolves, you get Donte DiVincenzo, who's now going to be one of the best sixth man in the league. In my opinion, he's an underrated defender and one of the better shooters in the league. And Julius Randle is more of a natural 4 compared to Cat, who came into the league as a 5 and transitioned to the 4. This is going to open up playing time for Naz Reid and kind of hash out those issues that we had with Cat, Gobert, and Naz Reid. For the Knicks, Karl-Anthony Towns is a better basketball player than Julius Randle, and he's one of the best three-point shooting big men of all time. Yes, of all time. This is going to help their spacing and their overall offense, and he's a guy that is okay with having a smaller role, so he's going to fit in well with this team. Now, on the human side, why did we make this trade? As the Timberwolves, why? This is a guy that we drafted 9 years ago, and heading into his 10th season, showed no signs of wanting to leave. He did not request a trade, and we traded him away. Why? Because we are stubborn about the Rudy Gobert trade, that we wanted to get our worth out of these assets and instead traded away the guy that a ton of these fans, myself included, have pretty much seen their whole lives, at least their lives watching basketball. For me personally, this is an Al Jefferson jersey. I got this when I was 7 or 8. It was an adult small on Amazon, and I refused to believe my parents that it wasn't a youth small, so they bought it for me. And I couldn't wear it until I was probably an 8th grader. And I still wear this all the time. This was the first guy I ever saw the Timberwolves play that was like their star. And he wasn't, Al Jefferson was good, but he wasn't a superstar. I got to see the Al Jefferson era, the Kevin Love era, and then we transitioned into the Andrew Wiggins and Karl-Anthony Towns era. I kind of paid attention during the Al Jefferson, Kevin Love era. I was still a little kid, so I didn't really know 100% what was going on. And right towards the end of that Kevin Love era was when I really started to pay attention more closely to the NBA and especially the Timberwolves. One of the first trades I remember is the Kevin Love, Andrew Wiggins trade. And yeah, Wiggins was cool. He was my favorite player for his rookie year, but he wasn't the guy we drafted. The Cavs drafted Wiggins. The Timberwolves drafted Karl-Anthony Towns. And the moment we drafted him, he became my favorite player. I have a life-size 7-foot fathead in my childhood bedroom that's either from his rookie or sophomore year. That poster you see up there, it's literally just a piece of paper. I got it for like $2. Kind of got scammed, but whatever, because it's literally just a printable piece of paper. But I've had that thing up in my room, in my dorm my freshman year, in my room my sophomore year, and now as a 20-year-old junior. I'm a full-grown man, and I still have a picture of this dude up in my room. It sucks that he's not going to be on the Timberwolves anymore. It is 7 p.m. the next night because I didn't want to make this earlier because I still needed time to process. And no, I'm not actually grieving because I never got to meet him, right? He didn't die. He's just playing for a different basketball team. But it is still sad. This is a guy that I've watched since I was a little kid. Truly since I was a little kid. He's been on this team for 9 years. I was 11 when we drafted him. This guy has been through a rebuild when him and Wiggins were the 1-2 trying to figure it out. Then we traded for Jimmy Butler. Now Cat's got a smaller role, and he was okay with it. Him and Jimmy had issues, but we traded away Jimmy and proved that this was Cat's team. We go through another rebuild, really proving that this is Cat's team as the number 1 option. Then we get the number 1 pick and we draft Anthony Edwards. And Anthony Edwards is an absolute stud. Argue with the wall, this man is a top 5 player. If you really can think of 5 players, I bet you can't think of 7 players better than Ant. This is Ant's team now. And Cat stepped into that number 2 role perfectly fine. I don't remember, unless I'm forgetting something, I don't remember ever seeing any rumors or anything about him complaining about a smaller role. He handed his team over to Ant and just wanted to win in Minnesota. Who wants to play in Minnesota? It is almost October. Give it 2 more weeks, and the weather's going to be terrible for 6 months. Nobody wants to live here. Yet we had a guy that wanted to be here, and now we traded him away. One of the reasons that we have struggled is because we can't just bring people here. This isn't Miami. This isn't LA. So when you get a guy like that, we can't just get rid of him. But instead, we traded him away because the GM and this regime put a lot of assets into Rudy Gobert, which I understand. I do. From a basketball standpoint, I understand. They put in a ton of assets into Rudy Gobert, so they want him to be here. And yes, he brings value to this team, but if anybody was going to be traded, why not him? This is a guy that has a lot less history in Minnesota. Like I said, there is a whole generation's worth of kids that have just watched Cat. We've never seen him on another team. We've never seen a Timberwolves team without him. Like, truly watched basketball, seen a team without Cat. It's going to be different. It sucks. I'm very happy that he landed with the Knicks. Ever since I made that video about the Knicks, they've become my second favorite team. Not just because they're good, because I fell in love with a lot of the players and what the organization has done, that now he's playing for my second best team, my second favorite team. Probably going to go get a jersey, and alongside Jalen Brunson and probably Mikal Bridges, because I love watching both those guys play basketball. And I'm praying for a Wolves-Knicks finals at this point. It's so frustrating to see this move. It was bound to happen after this whole summer and this postseason run. It seemed like they wanted to shake it up, and Cat was the odd man out. It sucked, but this is a guy that poured his soul into Minnesota. This is a guy who literally went through the death of his mom in this town and still showed up to work every single day. And now he's no longer here. And I get it's a business, but man, I hope that this doesn't leave a sour taste in his mouth about Minnesota, because the fans absolutely love him. There's a small subsection that doesn't like him, and whatever. He's been great for us for 10 years. Yeah, he's had his issues when it comes to defense and effort and flopping or whatever, but this is a guy that truly has showed up to work day in, day out for 9 years. And I mean, it's going to be weird. I hope when he's old, he comes back and this is like a KG type of thing where we get him at the end of his year, at the end of his career, and hopefully we can win a ring with them then. But until then, only team I'm fine with the Wolves losing to at this point is the Knicks, and it better be one of those two teams that win a ring, because man, this is going to be an interesting year. I don't really remember a Wolves team that didn't have Karl-Anthony Towns on it, at least when I've been paying attention to stats and records and truly like paying attention to the NBA. So this will be different, but hopefully this works out. Yeah, I think this is the overall feeling for Wolves fans.